Hey Skylar, my name is Steven. I'm doing a quick video to show you what I would do with SEO for your website. So I know you have a kind of a real estate brokerage and focus on kind of 55 plus senior community people that want to move into those. So the first thing I do, I guess, is go to Google, just try that out. I know there's assisted living and independent living and memory care and some other permutations. But it seemed, I remember that 55 plus was the biggest, most popular search term. So just kind of starting with Salt Lake City, I would say 55 plus communities, Salt Lake City. And then the results are, so individual senior living spots. Most people would probably go to this more places because they're not just going to want to see 3 of them. And they'll probably choose one that's, be interested in stuff that's close to them. So could you get into this little section here? Possibly. I mean, these are all individual places. You could kind of add the name of your website with like best 55 plus communities, and that might stand out instead of the individual ones. You can also create your own Google profile and then designate kind of certain service area business radiuses. So you could just draw a little circle around this area or some other area and hopefully show up in these results, or at least in the more places section. And then in terms of the so-called organic results, so this is the top one, Utah Realty Group. If you look through them, the obvious pattern is they all mention 55 plus and Salt Lake City. So you would probably want to have a landing page that has that, 55 plus communities in Salt Lake City. And then you maybe include the word best, and that would differentiate it from these. So best 55 plus retirement communities. And I think that was my suggestion for your homepage. You asked for one suggestion, which was to rename the title. So your title is currently just Properties Utah Seniors Home Search. I would have renamed it Best 55 Plus Communities and Independent/Assisted Living in Utah. So there's some people that will search statewide, I'm guessing. It's more likely that the majority will search for individual towns, where they have family. But this little tool, by the way, gives you kind of an idea of how close you are to the limit, pixel limit of a title before it gets cut off, and it kind of previews what it would look like. So on Google, that new title would look like this, and so no ellipsis. It might get rewritten. Sometimes Google does that, but you want to have an H1 that matches that on the web page. So that would cover, somebody who does type in Utah, which hopefully you might rank for. But I would be curious, just how do you compare to the competitors? So to do that, I would use a tool called Ahrefs. And here I've just kind of searched for the main categories: 55 plus communities in Salt Lake City, assisted living, Salt Lake City, independent living, etc. And so I guess assisted living, is the big one, but maybe your clients are primarily 55 plus. So if you're curious who ranks for this and why and how you would get in there, you click on this and it would take you to that specific search phrase. And it'll tell you like that's not too difficult to rank for. They say 4, I don't think it would be that easy, but they would say like, hey, you need at least 5 referring domains to rank in the top 10, meaning linking back to that particular landing page for Salt Lake City. If you're curious, you can go down a little bit. You could see who's in the top 10. That's the same thing. So Utah Realty Group, same as what you see here. There's Utah Realty Group. And then if you're curious where you rank, you go down to this area here. You're not in the top 10, but you can click on Show More and do kind of a find for, Utah Senior Home Search. So you're in position 64. And the reason for that is there are no backlinks to your site. It doesn't have any domain authority, and that URL specifically has just a tiny bit of authority. These column headings, I'm going to scroll up, are kind of why people rank where they do rank. So the number of words in the page, this is an error, it couldn't crawl at that particular moment. And the domain rank, so that's just kind of your overall website domain rank. So realtor.com, this one has a huge domain rank, 91. It's one of those kind of geometric scales, so it's like infinitely more powerful than this one. This one showed up above realtor.com though, because it probably has more specificity. The backlinks from 10 different domains going directly to that page, and there are probably some potent domains. And then it ranks for a certain number of keywords more than any others. But this one does pretty well, 149. keywords. So your goal would be to figure out why these, or my goal would be to figure out, what is the combination of backlinks, individual domains backlinking, and the domain ranking, which is difficult to change. So your target might be something like this one is the lowest domain ranking. So you're currently at 0. So you'd want to get that up to above 14 and have more than 24 backlinks to that landing page in order to beat these people and show up in the, right above them in the top 10. It would be hard to beat these others. Maybe this one would be a candidate. So it's a specific, spot, I guess. But they do have a lot of backlinking domains. I'm not sure what's going on with that number there, but okay, so that would be how you would get in there. And then I think you also asked, what about I think site speed was an issue. So I would use, there's kind of a built-in tool to Chrome where you can see how it loads your page. There's lots of tools, but so this is kind of a waterfall preview of what is causing your site to load, or individual pages to load slowly. So let me stop this, highlight this area. So basically, if you look at it, in this waterfall, nothing really happens until this very first HTML is loaded. So that's your home page. If I click on this and go to timing, it basically says that you're waiting for the server for more than half a second, almost a full second. The causes for that could be that you're on a shared server, I don't know if it's GoDaddy or one-in-one or something where there's lots of people, it kind of slows things down. Or it could be that your site is not cached. I think it was a WordPress site, and there's plugins for caching. The web hosts also offer different types of caching. I don't think you're using Cloudflare for DNS. That has features for caching that are like superior to everything pretty much. So I'd recommend switching to Cloudflare, using their caching, and then if possible, taking advantage of whatever caching your host offers. And then if you're paying like $10 a month instead of $30 or $50 a month, I would recommend upgrading to the $50 or $30 a month to reduce this server time. But I'd have to get into it to see what the deal is with that. You also have a ton of big images, which I don't know if they're totally necessary. You might be able to replace them with, illustrations that are vectored. Illustrations are much, much smaller, and there's lots of kind of cool ones you can create. In terms of information architecture, like the way that's laid out, you want to have your landing pages a little bit more prominent, like linked closer, fewer clicks to get to the landing pages from the home page. So from this, I couldn't really tell where the landing pages were. Like if you go down a little bit, I was kind of expecting these to go to parts of your website, but they go to the equityrealestateusa.com. So you kind of lose them from there. I know that's probably kind of an affiliate thing because I saw your logo on that, but you lose the SEO potency. You're giving that up to Equity Real Estate USA. So I know you had a whole bunch of landing pages, but it's not clear how you get to them or how Google would search to crawl to find them, or if it's kind of a long path to get to them. So I have this other tool where it kind of shows you for each page on your site how many links there are to it, and just different issues. So for instance, your landing pages might be, I think you had some that are assisted living. So let's say this one. So the links to this page, I don't see any. Mind you, I did stop this a little bit early. Let me try a different one. Okay, so there are some. So here's one. You have lots of community highlights. I do remember seeing some, but I stopped this thing because it was crawling. It was taking too long. But I would want to know what's the path that Google might take to get to the landing pages. If you go to Google and you say, hey, how many pages have you indexed for this thing? So what is this, Utah? Here we go. It'll say, all right, we've indexed, 5 pages, 50 pages, and you have a lot more than 50 pages. So something's going wrong there. I would go through these and see if your individual landing pages, like this one, I think that's a landing page. It's hard to tell. How many of those are indexed versus how many you want. And I think Google Search Console will give you a good idea of that as well. So I don't have access to that. You'd also mentioned, I think, titles and descriptions. So this tool also has a feature where you can go through and say, hey, which titles have issues, like these red ones here. So the issue in this case is it's too many characters. It's going to get chopped off. Same with this one, too many characters. Same thing with the descriptions. You can see missing ones or whatever. And so I don't want to go on forever. I know your time is valuable, but that's what I would do. There's a lot more. And yeah, hopefully I can get a chance to talk to you. We can go through some of this on a screen share and answer any questions you have. Okay, thanks.